Hello, Jabu.
Hello, Ed.
Jabu, you're a Black Lives Matter activist in Oxford. Can you tell me what your movement in Oxford has been doing recently, please?
Yes, Black Lives Matter in Oxford has been involved in more than, I'd say, 8 rallies, which we're calling out. I mean, initially, obviously, was to pay respect to what had happened to George Floyd, as most of the Black Lives Matter upset was. But more than anything, locally, was to highlight the issues of what you call black issues as far as the stop and search in our communities, the issues of COVID people who are working in hospitals, being people disproportionately being affected and dying in the front line. We were looking at the insecure contract affecting black communities at work as far as wages are concerned. More than anything, which I'm most proud of was calling out the iconography standing over us, like the Cecil Rhodes statue. That was one of our biggest gatherings in Oxford, where
Absolutely, absolutely. I use the analogy with Germany. If there were statues of Hitler in every town centre in Germany, people would be shocked and outraged because they know how dreadful the Nazi regime was. And it's no different having statues of slave traders in major Western European countries and America.
yes, I mean, and to see the Bristol toppling of Colston being so heavily persecuted in terms of the legalities that are now being, visited on the people that roll the statute. It's worrying. The plight. It's a symbolism of how not so regarded our black plight is across the world.
Yes,
So
sometimes you have to take illegal action to get things done. I mean, in 1 week they achieved more, the comrades in Bristol who did that, than people have for decades in just trying to move slowly. They made people think.
yes, it's for me the legalities of it is to think about movements like the suffragettes. A lot of what they were doing was illegal, but yet the people that are making laws and creating these bills to oppress people are there in parliament because of the suffragettes. They don't
Absolutely.
understand that most of these movements have paved the way for people's rights, employment rights, disability rights. We have the Equalities Act because of civil rights movements. We've gotten rid of apartheid not because people like de Klerk were nice, because of the intensification against that oppressive regime in South Africa. So for people to say no, people cannot protest. It's a fundamental what you call it's the most fundamental thing that we have to fight for in terms of resisting that. And Black Lives Matter is at the heart of that because we know very well, too well, that the bill that's been created has mainly been to destroy the huge upsurge in Black Lives Matter because they do not want people to have a voice.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So, can you tell me you're involved in something called Mothers for Justice as well? Can you tell me what that's been doing?
Yes, Mothers for Justice Ubuntu is an organization I founded because I was concerned about the disproportionate representation of Black people in the criminal justice system. And not only that, locally, there are so many discrepancies as far as how this justice is administered in our communities from the preschool to prison route. We are looking at how our young kids are being treated in schools. We're looking at how that then facilitates what we call a route that ends them up in prison. The school exclusions, the stop and search powers, the powers that people have in the courts to basically pressure defendants into taking guilty pleas, the plea bargaining that has forced so many to take on and what you call to say yes to things, to crimes that they didn't do because they fear the alternative of being sentenced highly if they are found guilty for trying to prove their innocence. So there are so many things, but also at the center of Mothers for Justice Ubuntu is to support the families that are affected, the stigma that they have to go through. It's just basic. Even connecting with the prisons. Prisons are overcrowded, and the government is talking about building more. Austerity has cut so many services in our cities. So there are so many young people roaming the streets with nothing to do, with no jobs, and the police are just there to arrest them for various things. I think if they could under this bill, they'll bring back the Vagrancy Act, and I feel as if they do administer it in a way that it's no longer called a Vagrancy Act. So there are so many issues that Mothers for Justice wants to get involved, but more than anything, to cut back, to help the rate of recidivism in our communities and give young people hope, because I feel as if they are given all sort of imprisonment and all these hefty sentences, but there is no alternative to organize them into a sort of rehabilitation type of a system so that they can get on with their lives.